Are you interested in astrology and you want to see how I decode an astrology natal chart and do a forecast? Well, you're in luck. My name is Zervoudakis. I'm the founder of Holistic Healing Astrology. And today we're going to look at Elon Musk's chart one more time. And I've done it before, and it's in the videos on my YouTube channel here. But this time I'm going to do an update because his life has been updated and we're going to do a forecast. And I'm going to show you the actual chart and how an astrologer can look at the transits. And I will explain along the way how I do it, and I'll explain some of the jargon. I'll try to do it in easy to understand language. But if you have any questions as you're viewing this video, feel free to put the comments below and I'll get back and answer your questions, because these are learning experiences and these are opportunities for me to share with you how I work. And that's the most important thing. So we're just going to imagine that Elon Musk is in front of me and is going to be doing the interactive consultation. So without further ado, let's look at Elon Musk's chart. Okay, and here it is. So we have the chart here. I'm going to move this over here. So the first thing, I hope you all know who Elon Musk is. He is, just in case you don't know who he is, and this is not a political type video. This is astrology and strictly astrology. But because this person is in the limelight, you could get a glimpse of his personality through your source of news, social media. So some of the background, he is very much into technology. He is an entrepreneur. He has worked very hard to achieve his accomplishments. He's into science and rockets. He also bought the old Twitter and now calls it X. And the latest accomplishment is he's joined forces in politics with the new administration. So he's also a billionaire, and I believe so far he's the richest person in the world. Now, I remember when Oprah was the richest woman in the world. I don't think she is anymore. So things do change. So let's take a glance at Elon Musk's chart. So the first thing we see is the signs are in the outer colored wheel, and we always look at the degrees and the minutes of the sign, and inside the white inner wheel are the houses, and they're numbered counterclockwise from 1 to 12. And then we also have the signs and the planets and points scattered throughout the chart. So based on this chart, this person, Elon Musk, seems to be a well-rounded person, because the formation here, or pattern, is a splash. And that means that these people are interested in a lot of different things, and they have not just one focus. They're pretty well-rounded. And I believe 22% of the population is a splash. Okay. So, so the splash, we're going to see what else. So the planets are scattered around, not all in one area. It means diversity, and they could be a little scattered, but yet organized. Like they scatter their energy around and then they come around and collect it. Okay. So, the other thing you want to look at is what everybody calls the big three. That is this point here. If you see the big green, neon green arrow, this is his ascendant is 15 degrees Cancer, and that is right here. The point on the eastern horizon at the moment of his birth, yet he has the sun and Mercury, the two planets, well, the illuminary sun and the planet Mercury are also in Cancer. So he's got a lot of Cancer energy. And we'll come back to that and I'll tell you what that means. The other thing we have to look at is the moon. His moon is in the earth sign of Virgo, but in the second house. And the second house represents finances, how he makes his money. So he's very emotional about his self-worth and his finances. Okay? Now, the third thing that we look at is the moon, the sun, and the ascendant. Those are the three. But we can't ignore all this other stuff going on. Now, for me, what's really important are these two areas here. This is the midheaven. This is how society sees Elon Musk, okay? And his accomplishments. And down here are the things that we don't see. This is his home life. And this is the root of his chart, his ancestry, his, his home life. So let's just understand that the other important area is his descendant, which has to do with relationships. What kind of relationships would be good for him? One-on-one relationships. And that would be Capricorn-like relationships. So, now that we see the big picture of Elon Musk's chart, we also have to understand that all these lines, these green lines, red lines, blue lines, they're dotted, they're solid. These are what we call aspects, but the relationships between planets and points, like the ascendant, the ICMC, or the descendant. And then we have to see how many different aspects are on the personal planets or, or the potent planets. So what's potent here is this 0 degrees Taurus and 0 degrees Scorpio. And this axis here, this home life and professional life is very enthusiastic because it starts at 0. It's very intense, a very intense home life. A lot of shared resources, maybe extreme and intense, right? Scorpio has to deal with psychology and all or nothing type energy, death, sexuality, shared resources, insurances, finance that is out of your control. And then up here is personal resources and your possessions. These are shared possessions down here. And up here, he has a very practical approach to his career. And he was very disciplined and very simplistic. He started his company with his brother, rented out a space, and they slept in there. He slept on the couch. So he sacrificed a lot, and it didn't matter because simplicity is what he knows best. He's happy to be simple and practical with everything he does. It's kind of interesting. So let's look and see now. I mean, I expected Elon Musk to be an Aquarius because they're very scientific and, making the Tesla, I didn't say anything about the Tesla company, but all this AI type work and Tesla, Twitter, being a billionaire, they're very humanitarian. So we have a conjunction here, which is 2 points that work together with his north node and the personal planet of Mars, which is, let's do it. Let's take action. The north node is the purpose. His purpose is very humanitarian. Isn't that interesting? So, we might question, is he really the humanitarian or is he very self-centered? But according to this, he is a detached type, non-emotional person when it comes to humanity, his purpose, and the way he takes action. It's like no nonsense. These are the facts, nothing but the facts. However, he's got the sun, Mercury, how he thinks and communicates, and his ascendant is in the sign of Cancer, a water sign that is very sensitive, ruled by the moon, extremely sensitive, but yet the phrase for Cancer is, I care. This means to me that this person sincerely cares. I'm just basing this on astrology. I think it's interesting that he has so many children as well, because Cancers are very nurturing. I betcha he would love to cook at home and, feed everybody, just the big nurturer. Now, another interesting thing that just came to my mind, and I think I'll do that at another video when I carve out the time, is to compare his chart, Elon Musk's chart, with the chart of the United States. That would be very interesting. That would be a compatibility chart to see how he interacts with the United States chart. So if anyone out there is into team building and you're building a team with a few people, right? I would challenge you to give me a shout through a discovery call and we could further discuss, because there's no better tool for team building than astrology. That's my personal insights and opinion. So the other thing that we want to look at, so we understand that he's a caring type person. And then you're going to say, well, how do you make all that money? Taurus is all about show me the money. And it's in Tucson. It's in 2 houses. It's also in the area of organizations, money from entrepreneurship, your own business. And and also clubs and organizations. Okay. It's all about the money. And for him, it's slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Because Taurus is not a quick sign. However, if we look at the first house here, this is his personality. Well, he's very caring, but he also has Leo in the first house. And he's maybe in a past life, but what's very familiar to him is leadership, being a king, having fun, and romance, and creativity, children. So again, this is why, Cancer loves to nurture the children and the family, but loves children. Very warm, sensitive, warm. Okay. And Leo also is about the performance and performing. So it seems like he's always performing something out there. He is the natural entertainer in his own little quirky, unique way. And speaking of unique and quirky, that's also very Aquarian. And they could be the strange, weird person on the block, right? So that's another aspect of his personality. And we could talk about his natal chart for a good 2 or 3 hours. And if he was here, he would say, oh, yeah, when I'm alone, I'm surrounded by all my books because I love to read, I love to learn, and I love it. And yes, I love to be alone and I need my quiet time. And I am a great communicator because when the sun and another planet are close by, called a conjunction, that means that he has the makings of the signs that are ruled by Mercury, which would be Gemini and Virgo. So Gemini is like the master communicator. They exchange knowledge and they like to look at both sides. And they're very objective, very outspoken. And they're very childlike too, because they have this sort of innocence. It's like, let's just get the facts out there, get it done. And Mercury is the lower level of Uranus, and Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. So this is highly intellectual person, very smart, okay? And he knows how to figure out stuff. Genius, all right? This is also the area Aquarius means they're genius. So, and they have great inspiration and vision. He's a visionary. He wants to populate and occupy the planet of Mars. That's extremely futuristic. These are all qualities of Aquarius. It's beautiful, isn't it, how it works out? So the other thing you want to look at is, okay, what kind of a communicator is he? Well, he's pretty intense and transformative, but very Virgo-like, very critical thinking, and putting things in a specific order, okay? Virgo is very practical, and it's ruled by Mercury. So a lot of transformation in the way Elon learned. I'd like to know what his early childhood education was like, if he moved to different schools, and if there was some sort of bullying going on in his life because of the Black Moon Lilith with relationships and sudden and unexpected changes, maybe, further emphasizing two changes in the area of education. Maybe he changed his professional aspirations, okay? So now I feel like you're getting the picture. So in the 5th house of creativity, romance, and children, we have 2 planets that are very close to one another, and they work together in tandem, and that's Jupiter, the planet of abundance and expansion. This is the area of children. So yeah, he's got 6 kids, if I remember correctly. And Neptune is in 0 degrees, which means it is very energetic and powerful, and he's got this great enthusiastic imagination, or a way of being delusional sometimes, but he uses that delusional kind of energy, that visionary, imaginary energy, fantasy energy, in a very optimistic and high risk ways. I mean, buying out Twitter, high risk. Sending these rockets up in the sky are risky. And now doing this Doge endeavor, apparently for free. That's kind of risky too. And he's very idealistic. It's like, unicorns and fairy dust. Are you kidding me right now? But look how Scorpio and Sagittarius energy is working in this house of creativity. And Jupiter also is about the truth and about morals and values, about travel. I mean, I think it's fascinating how these planets tell the story about Elon Musk. And we're not even talking about the aspects. I'm going to skip the aspects. But I do want to say one thing. He's got two quintiles right off the bat that have to do with Pluto and healing, self-healing, right? And his home life and healing, okay? So a quintile is an obsession. And it's okay to be obsessed on stuff, but this guy won't give up. He's gonna keep going. And when I say obsession, think of it, it's like tenacity. Think of an emergency room doctor. You want them to be a little bit obsessed with what is making you ill, so we could get to the root of the problem and help you so you don't die. Okay? So that is acceptable. And so the other thing that I would look at is he has a very idealistic view about self-healing. And it is linked to his purpose here, with the futuristic purpose and what he's very familiar with. So if you believe in reincarnation, I mean, he could have been a strong leader in a past life or even a king, because it's Leo. It's amazing how much energy and power he has, and how he's achieved what he achieves. So that is most of what I wanted to look at in his astrology natal chart. And we have to remember that his part of fortune here, which shows his greatest joy, success, and prosperity, is conjunct or close to transformation. He loves to transform in a very methodical, step-by-step, logical, and practical way, a discerning way, a critical way. This is Virgo, okay? And this part of fortune and his moon are in the second house, which has to do with money. So, your greatest joy, success, and prosperity is in the house of money or prosperity. Interesting, isn't it? Any comments, put them below. Share this video with anyone that may be interested in learning more about Elon Musk. So this is how I do a forecast. I would look at the upcoming year. So the way I do that is I would look at, so I'm going to copy his chart, and we're going to look at his solar return chart. A solar return chart is a chart for this year. So he was born in June, so we're going to do it 2024, because it will go July 2024 to July 2025. And I'm not sure where he lives, but I know it's in the United States. So let's just say he lives in California, because it's not South Africa. So we'll put Los Angeles. And if anyone knows where he lives, please let me know and we'll correct it. California. And so, and I always use local mean time, folks. You never use time zone because it could be off by 15 degrees. So let's look at very quickly, what his solar return chart shows for 2024. Well, intensity for his profession, all or nothing. And it was pretty extreme what's going on.
It's 7:30.
And business is at the forefront in his first house. Major transformation in major irreversible changes in science and technology. Interesting, isn't it? And that's what the big focus is on for him this year. There's emphasis on money and his responsibility with money, his emotions about money, and his imagination. And it's at 29 degrees Pisces. So that would be an urgency for him to make the unimaginable happen, to occupy Mars. His sun is also conjunct with Venus in Cancer, and that means that in the 6th house. So for his everyday life or his job on a daily basis is he cares and loves his daily job and taking care of the family, but also it's about communication, big time communication. And it's funny because, he owns X, and that's about social media communication. And there's a lot of emphasis here, not only in his area of money, finances, but in his home life, so it could be a little chaotic right now in his home life, but it's all about possessions and practicality, Taurus, comfort. So I know one thing, he does live in a modest type house. He doesn't live in he's a billionaire, richest person in the world, but he doesn't live in a 20-room mansion. Okay? So it's kind of interesting. And then Jupiter, the planet of truth and expansion and the big picture in Gemini, is in the area of love, creativity, and children. So he's all about, revealing the truth. And isn't that funny how he's doing this now? Can't make this up. And his purpose is about communication. He's using himself to communicate. And there's a healing that's going on here. Very interesting. And I'll skip the rest of it, but it's fascinating how he is the truth revealer with Jupiter in Gemini. So that's his solar return chart. So let's go back and we're going to look at his transit chart. So we go back to his birth chart and we're going to look at the transits. Astrologers, when they look at transits, they look at the outer planets and we put things together. So the outer planet, the first one is Pluto, 2 degrees Aquarius, and it is squaring or making a relationship to the strong point that I talked about earlier about his home life and his professional life. with money and with intensity in the home. So major irreversible changes that he has to work through. Okay, that's Pluto. And Pluto is going to stay in this area and affect his home life and professional life for the next 2, 3, 4 years, because Pluto moves forward 6 months, backwards 6 months, and it takes 20 years to go from 0 degrees of Aquarius to 29 degrees of Aquarius. It's a long spread. So it's also going to affect his purpose, maybe in the next 5, 6, 7 years. And then it's also going to affect his actions and his drive right here later on, maybe 15, 20 years from now. These are guesstimations. He's also just had a Chiron, which is the wounded healer. He's had a Chiron return recently, and it's all about his self healing, and that's a 50-year cycle. So it's in the area of justice, the big picture, the world, social media, and higher learning. Okay, interesting. And he also has Neptune in Pisces next to the North Node, his purpose in the area of global, worldwide justice, ethics, values, that kind of energy. All right. And his imagination is just working overtime on a very spiritual level, you guys. Very compassionate and selfless, limitless level. Can't make this stuff up, can we? So the other planet I would love to look at is this Uranus in Taurus is right on the cusp of his 11th house, which has to do with humanity, because it's the natural house of Aquarius. And Uranus is the ruler, planetary ruler of Aquarius. So he's very comfortable here in the area of the 11th house. This depicts sudden, unexpected changes in the area of worldwide social media futuristic events. And that's very interesting how that's going to work out for him. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I think it's also very interesting, and this is where the emphasis is. We have these irreversible changes, okay, here, and it's also affecting his responsibility to tell the truth, all right, and also how it affects his career and his home life that I just spoke of. But that same Pluto energy in the natal chart is being influenced exactly 27 degrees Virgo, and opposite the 27 degrees Pisces. So there's this little bit of a tug of war with spirituality and practicality and of the earth energy, and these irreversible changes in the area of information and then the philosophy. So this is the data, and then this is how we use that data to collect the wisdom and to move forward. And I think this is fascinating how this is playing out. If you have any comments or suggestions for following upcoming videos you want me to look at, I would love to do it, but I just felt compelled when I was doing my meditation that popped into my head. And then if he were here, I would pull some cards. So let's see how that works, because I'm going to be doing a live on my TikTok. I've been neglecting TikTok for a long time because I've been very busy with my clients and other obligations. So we'll just pick a couple cards for Mr. Elon Musk, which will summarize what has been talked about, just in case Spirit or God wants us to know. Okay. So the first card I pick is trust. So trust, and he might have some trust issues right now, but I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So that's a message for Elon Musk, is to trust his gut. Now, with the sun, the Mercury, and his ascendant being in highly intuitive Cancer, because it's ruled by the moon. And the moon, his moon is in Virgo, which is very practical. So he might rationalize the gut and talk himself out of his gut instinct. And also, the root of his chart is very psychic too, with Scorpio. Scorpio is one of the most intense water signs, but the deepest water sign is Pisces. Okay. And so that's something interesting. I'll pull one more card, okay, assuming he's here. And so the card that I picked is grief. And so I'm sure he's getting a lot of grief right now with all the stuff that he's unveiled. He probably had no idea what he was getting into because no one really knew what was going on. Okay. So I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. So just remember, when you're in a power position as anybody with a lot of power, whether it's a world leader, a president of a company, anything like that, or an entertainer, a movie star, it's lonely at the top. And I know for a fact it's true, because you have to understand that not everybody wants to be your friend because you're such a nice guy. They're kind of looking at it opportunistically. And so there are two people in the world, the givers and the takers. And that's something to look at. And whether you are a giver or a taker, it's totally up to you. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss an upcoming video, because what I do is pretty sporadic. I get these things out when I can, but my first priority is my client base, and then putting out free content for all of you to better understand the incredible tool of astrology. Thank you again. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day.